continue to discuss in details and to bring more explanation to the last topic, because after I had a discussion with Sister Sahar and Sister Layla, so it looks like the subjects was not that clear. So one of the beautiful names of Allah, Al-Khaliq, the Creator. So Allah has created everything. And also you can give this attributes to somebody who creates something. If somebody creates something out of clay, out of metals, like the computer, the washing machine, the cars, the airplanes, the rocket, so we say he's a creative. He's a creative person. He did create something. But there is a huge difference between that attributes belong to Allah and to human being. Allah, when He creates something. He has created everything out of nothing. So that's His superpower. ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع العليم. There is nobody look like Him. In every names, attributes, or creation. If you look back to the ancient history, you would find that they didn't have a cell phone, they didn't have a computer, they didn't have cars, they didn't have airplanes, they didn't have rockets, they didn't have space shuttles. So if you ask yourself, how did they come to know that? They come to know that through the discovery. That's it. Nothing else. Discovery. So if you go to the food supermarket, you will find something with flavoring, with different flavors. It can be an orange, it can be apple, it can be meat, it can be whatever. How did the scientists reach to that? They study the original, the natural flavors, and after that, after they got to know the law of the natural flavors and how to mix the elements like carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, so they can bring something all together, and then they can come up with something to mimic, to imitate the organic flavor. And you can see this a lot in the market. The same thing when you look at all the manufacturing. Everything human being has reached to, they reach to that through discoveries. And by the science and the technology, we discover what is in nature. We discover the divine law of the materialism. They study the atom, electrons, protons, and they have studied the ocean and how the fish dive And therefore, they were able to mimic that and to have something to dive under the ocean, at the bottom of the ocean. And then they have submarines and whatever. So they have studied the birds and how do they fly using wings, and then they looked inside to see the inside, and they were able to mimic that, to imitate that, and create an aeroplane. And it looks like a bird in the sky, a tube, bird in the sky. So when you look at science and technology, everything has been done by human being. They studied the divine law, they studied the God's law, because there is a divine law for everything. But now we are looking at material world, materialism. Have they discovered everything? Not yet. We still have many things, like this eyeglasses I wear. They have studied the eye and how they see and what is inside, and then they were able to discover something to correct the eyesight. And this is to facilitate our life. So if someone has a problem with his, with his eyesight in the past, they will live like this till they die. But now they can bring something to help human being. So I don't want to spend the time to talk about this issue, because in every science and technology, the base is discovery. And by this discovery, after they discover the divine law and the characteristics of each materials, and also that's a law. Like there is a divine law for iron, different from copper, different from hydrogen, different from oxygen, different elements. Even nuclear pump, they have studied the divine law to create something out of something. Like in order to create an elements out of another elements, you need a huge power in order to do that. Even our sun, like the solar system, cannot create iron. Iron has come to the earth from another huge galaxy, maybe 100 times energy. The energy was like 100 times as the sun, as our star. So it came from the space. I'm talking about how human being got to know and to learn and then to become creative. But what they did is they discovered that the divine law, the Allah's law, the norm of the creation for every element, for everything, all the materials, and they try to mimic that. How the car motor, how the engine, how the washing machine, everything discovery. And after we discover something, we can mimic it. And somebody else will do reverse engineering. They steal the patent by having the product in their hand, and they do is reverse engineering. So that's apply for every materials in the world. So it makes sense for people now to know how human got the creativity, this ability to create something. They didn't start from nothing. No, they should have elements to start with. Not only that, but they need to discover the law, the divine law. And that's, if you ask chemist, physicist, microbiologist, molecular biology, engineering, mechanics, computer science, everything. We imitate and we just mimic what is in the nature to discover. Allah says in the Holy Quran, قُلْ انظُرُوا ماذا في السماوات والأرض. You have to look at what is in the sky, what is in the earth. Discovery. سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق. We are going to show them the evidence في الآفاق, from the horizon, on the horizon, وفي أنفسهم, and within themselves. Oh, subhanallah. Even that, yes. How the physician got to know the liver function, the kidney function. Wow. So the anatomy. They spend long time studying every organ in human being, starting from the hair, eyes, mouth, nose, everything, the GI tract, the cardiac, the lung, the fertilization, everything. And then after they got to know the divine law, again, the divine law. Who created the divine law? Allah. Who has made and imposed the divine law? Allah. Can they come up with something and it change something? No. Somebody may say, oh, nowadays they do genetic engineering, and by doing that they can change some characteristics. You know how they did that? They studied the divine law of the DNA, of nucleotides. I'm talking science now. And some of my, publications is about DNA sequencing, mutants, different mutants. I do that to add something to the microorganism, the bacteria, and then it starts mutation. It brings you different mutants, and then you pick them up, and then you find different characters. We did that based on studying the divine law. It is not out of nothing. Okay, so now we have agreed, and I am open for any question today. Everything scientists, developers, thinkers have tried so far, they focus on material world, material things. And therefore, they can create something to mimic and to imitate the material world, materialism. Now let's move to social studies, human studies, psychology. Um, this area is really hard. They have done some work, they have studied that. But did they have the option to study the divine law back million years? No. And history repeats itself. Did they have the chance to study the the social life, the psychology, sociology of like Native American, of ancient Egypt, the Roman Empire, Persia Empire? No. There were some studies done, but very minor, and they need more proof about it. When you study materials, you apply experimental work. When you add iron to copper, to sulfur, to whatever, so you deal with materialism, something that you can see, you can smell, you can touch, you can feel. But other than that, it's hard. Okay. And all of these material things were created from the earth and will go back to the earth. We came from the earth and will return to the earth. Everybody, they will die and they will go to the graveyard and then they will be vanished. Nobody. Billions, trillions, they will exist in the earth and then they are gone now. What is the remaining? What is the elements that will never die? Human beings are created from body and soul. Body and soul. Your soul will remain forever, will not die. This is for true. This is something we know. So, in the embryo, the angel will come and put your soul inside your body. When you die, the angel of death will take the soul somewhere else, to paradise or to the hellfire. And then on the day of resurrection, your soul will come back and then you will be body and soul again. Haven't you heard about somebody who have studied our spirit, our soul, and then they can figure out what bring happiness and what bring misery to our soul? Have somebody studied the interaction between the soul, that like the spirits, like even for one soul, they didn't study that. What about their interaction? No, we haven't heard about that. Are they a divine law for our soul? Yes. But we haven't figured this out. And Allah says in the Holy Quran, we are not going to allow human beings to know the secret of their soul. يسألونك عن الروح قل الروح من أمر ربي وما أوتيتم من العلم إلا قليلا. They ask the Prophet about the status of the soul. our soul. That's من أمر ربي. So the secret is still there. Nobody knows about it. And this is the major part of our existence in this earth. When you mix, when you put the soul into the body, they will bring a human being, nafs. You take it out, he's dead. The body will go to the graveyard. He's nothing. I mean the body, but he's still there. His soul is still there, blind and enjoying in paradise or being tortured in the hellfire. Let me jump to our topic, which is the improper imitation of the divine law, or the misleading imitation of the divine law. Haven't you heard about manufacturing problems, and then they call all the products and they don't want people to use it again because there is a defect in their manufacturing. It happened to cars, it happened to computers, it happened to machineries, because they figure out that there is some error that may bring a disaster. So they call it back from the market because they don't want any misleading or improper imitation. That's clear now. Look at somebody who put himself on the place of a god and try to have characters, different characters. Whatever, 40 or 50, and then try to also to build the scenario, to create the scenario. So he created the characters in his imagination, and the scenario and the interaction between the characters, and then in a movie they call them stars, movie stars. And then at the end he decided for them if they are going to have a good end or a bad end. Who are you? Who are you to spend that time? Have they studied the divine law? And Allah says in the Holy Quran, سنة الله في الذين خلوا من قبل ولن تجد لسنة الله تبديلا ولن تجد لسنة الله تحويلا. Sunnat Allah, the divine law, Allah's law that was applied to people before you, people in the past, in the ancient history. ولن تجد, and that divine law, Allah's law, will be repeated. ولن تجد لسنة الله تبديلا ولن تجد لسنة الله تحويلا. It will remain, it will never change. Someone may say, oh, give me an example. You have many examples. Sister Layla has taught you different story from the Holy Quran about nations before Islam, old nations, how they were superpower and then they collapsed afterward, like the nation of Ad, the Qawm Ad, the nation of Thamud, the Pharaoh and his nation. Many stories. And then people study these stories and they say, oh, it's good for entertainment. No, it is not for entertainment, but for a lesson you got out of that. You need to study, you need to think about the divine law that was applied to those people. And the same divine law may apply to people nowadays. Look at Jewish people when they tried to cheat, or they didn't cheat, they cheated. When Allah or asked them not to work in Saturdays, not to catch the fish on Saturdays. So they said, okay, but they put all the net and like the fishing materials a day before Saturday, and then on Sunday they come to collect the fish. Nowadays, in some towers, they have the elevator stop at every like different stairs, so it can stop by itself automatically on Saturday. Why? Because they don't want to push the bottom. And they said, we are good now. So they received the punishment at the old time. So we need to study what happened to people before us in order to avoid the divine law that was applied to them when they committed sins and mistakes and when they disobeyed Allah. And then the divine law, what was applied to them when they obeyed Allah, when they became righteous people. Oh, the companion of the Prophet ﷺ, Sahabat Rasulullah, read their story and their history. You will learn from that. So in Islam, we have Quran and Sunnah all together. Alhamdulillah, it has been kept to us. So there was some fabrication in the Old Testament and New Testament, and that's why Allah has protected the Holy Quran and the Islam in general, Quran and Sunnah, without any fabrication, without any change. Why this is very important? This is not for entertainment, but to learn the divine law that was applied for people before us. Because once we got into such thing, we will receive the same punishment or we will receive the same reward. Similar reward. Yeah. And that's from the ahadith and the Quran. So there are people who live around us now and they imitate the companion of the Prophet ﷺ. They copy them and they would receive similar reward. Look at people in Gaza now, people in Palestine. Life and death for them become equal because they live their life as if they are looking at paradise and the hellfire. So I believe I got my point now. If you waste your time, your energy, to create stories, movies, blah, 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 while you're drinking a cup of wine, and then you import that or export to Muslims. You send it to Muslims, and then, oh, they look at the movie, they look at, and they become brainwashed of some wrong divine law. Let me put it into that. They introduce wrong divine law, wrong law to people. And based on that, people will reshape their life. People will live their life according to what they see in the television, what they have been experienced. Does it make sense? Someone may say, but kids, they need some stories. Allah says in the Holy Quran, I'm going to give you an example from this, an example from that, an example. Yes, examples are good. But who can show an example for human being? Only those who studied the divine law throughout the history from Quran and Sunnah. Did I make it difficult for you? No. This is what I owe Allah, and I have to say it out loud. Anyone didn't study the divine law, they cannot write stories. They cannot, because this is misleading. This is misleading. They may bring you some movie stars who are doing wrong doors, who are doing, crazy stuff, sins and mistakes, and live in lust, and then create a good scenario for them and show them as a hero. You watch that with your kids. This is the hero. Who's your hero? Those idiots or the companion of the Prophet ﷺ? No, our hero are the companion of the Prophet ﷺ, male and female, and the companion of all the prophets. So why wasting our time going after that? This is the point. Have they studied the interaction between souls, spirits? No. They don't know. Nobody knows what is the status of the soul. Nobody has discovered that. So there is a big elements, a huge elements in our life that we don't know. We don't know anything about it, but what was revealed to us from Quran and Sunnah. So this part is hidden. It's a secret. That's why it is very important not to lend your brain and your heart to an idiot who will write in your heart and in your brain whatever he wants. This is really what is happening. If you let your kids to spend hours and hours in front of the movies and like that, you are lending their brains, their hearts to an idiot. to write whatever he wants. Subhanallah. And based on that, they will think and they will develop their ideas. They will go for human developments. So you take them to the mosque and then you bring them home. You take them to the mosque. They may listen to 100 khutbah, 100 speech. And then by watching one movie, it can erase all what they have learned from the lessons at the mosque. That is happening. Watching one movie. And Sister Sahar heard that also from her scholars. So is this a serious issue? It is a very serious issue. And people may not be aware of it, but you have to take it seriously. Otherwise, you are going to follow the misleading imitation of God's law, of Allah's law. I am seeing these things and I ask Allah Ta'ala for forgiveness, and Sister Layla may start to lead the discussion, and I'm listening.
Alhamdulillah, yeah, this is a very important topic because our lives subliminally are being shaped by social media and television and all of that. Sister Sahar, go ahead and share with us. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaykum salam.
TV is considered as huge, which this is what my father told me many years before, like magic.
May Allah be mercy with his soul.
Ameen.
Yeah. Because it's not that innocent. It's not just for entertainment. Movies, ads, and talk shows are designed for certain purpose. They lead the public opinion, or change people's habits, or much, much more. They change their beliefs. This is happening since long time up to now. But now it's become more danger because they spread homosexuality, having prohibited sex relations with family members, and encourage young girls to leave families' home and live alone in Arab world, which is not allowed because this is very dangerous for her. She is just a teenager who has to be protected and raised up. She has no experience to deal with people in such age. So at Arab countries, a girl doesn't leave her family's home until she gets married. And so some applications which enable users to make videos similar to TikTok and other applications similar to it. They encourage people to make short videos, dancing or singing, whatever. And they pay money in return. And this really happens. This was astonishing for me. This surprised me. Some of the application owners, they pick some girls of those who made the videos to work as prostitute. And sometimes they trap young girls, especially who needs money. They encourage them to have chat with male members and open camera or chat, and the website pays for this. And by the time they videotape her, and they blackmail her until they make her prostitute. This happens from applications that look innocent while it's not innocent. So danger is becoming everywhere. Media, social media, in different applications. And some video games contains some scenes to burn Quran and prostrate to a idol. Imagine this can happen to a game played by a Muslim children, by Muslim children. And back to movies. In last years, there was a trend widely spread everywhere, nationally and internationally, which is self-independent woman. Every woman can have a job. That's my opinions. Every woman can have a job, depend on herself, stay single. If she doesn't find a suitable match, it's okay. All this is it's okay. But there are some people fall for being single and don't marry at all to be independent. They claim she would be happier. And this is what we are against. This is the problem. This is contradict with our nature as Allah created us. And movie makers now knows very well that movies affect people's feelings, people's attitude, and people's beliefs. Movies are not just to have fun. Romance movies forms how do you see the relation with the opposite sex, and what do you think about marriage? And any young girl, any young lady might get misconception.
Sister Sahar, sorry for the interruption. I see a message from you saying that you need a co-host in order to share a file. Sister
Yes.
Layla?
Okay, hold on. Yeah, because I can't see inside.
She might, she didn't see that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stream, so I can't see Zoom. Hold on, let me.
Okay.
Yeah, if anybody has to message, don't message me, guys. Remember, I can't see anything.
Okay. I will share it after.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's the other computer. Maybe it's my other computer that's the host. Hold on. See, I'm running 5 computers here. Give me a second. It's this one.
You may continue, Sister Sahar, and she will do that.
Yeah, I'm going to do it now, inshallah.
Movies affects people's attitude and might cause violence. And political movies affects and build general opinion towards certain issues. For example, Barbie movie. It calls for having society of girls only, satisfied with each other. Barbie movie contains hidden message to girls to be alone with no man, to be happy, have beautiful shape, and lots of activities such as swimming, dancing, playing sport, and having career.
And this is for the children, right?
Yes, to have a perfect life, the Barbie life, perfect life. They forgot she wouldn't be young forever. She would need a company when she grew old. And this message.
And this is against the divine law, right?
Yes, for sure. This message is very dangerous when you deliver it to young girls. At the beginning of the movie, before Barbie, all girls used to play with baby doll. Looks like real baby. They take care of it. After Barbie appeared, they broke the dolls with a meaning of we don't have to be mothers in the future. A little girl will emphasize how to live alone and live that Barbie life.
Yeah.
In a Barbie land, men are the problem in a society of feminists. And Ken is the bad guy in the movie. And Barbie has to leave because she can't adopt with this male society. And she hates Ken. Some actors who plays girls' roles, the other Barbies in the movie, are transgender. So that movie says a man can play the role of a girl better than a girl itself. And a girl can do a man's role in the life. So gender
I may add something very important here. The divine law has been switched to a devil law. And that what whisper to the ears of the human devils, so that they can produce such stories, such movies, right? And
Yeah.
it contradicts with the divine law.
Yes. And the doctor
So
of Bab, go ahead.
go ahead. So now you have the choice to listen to the divine law or to listen to the devil's law. Be careful about that.
Okay. The doctor of Barbie in the movie is a transgender. He said in an interview, this movie is a candy with a little poison. And the propaganda for this movie was historical ads about it. Although it's a very poor movie from the drama point of view. And meantime, there was a trend of at hairdressers' shops and clothes shop to have the Barbie look and wear the Barbie colors. It was a trend that spread wide world. Barbie movie was supported by feminist associations to spread poison between young girls. Their beloved doll Barbie turned to be a lifestyle or a trend. You girls stay away of men, you would be happier and have perfect life. And anyone who teach young girl such this is a criminal. Okay. Another example, which is Disney Network. They produce cartoon contains homosexuality characters seen by children. They was about to show it in the Arab world, but when the majority objected, they are not showing them in the Arab world, but they are showing them everywhere else. And finally, we can't forget Netflix, which produces movies that support homosexuality, adultery, and mocking religion. And the statistics show that Netflix increased the acceptance of homosexuality from 27% to 60% in USA. So movies become more danger. So movies become more danger. Teach little children wrong beliefs that contradict with the nature Allah created us, the divine law Dr. Hassan mentioned, or being swindlers or doing crimes, and so on. So once you can stop can you stop it? You can run your life better and have plenty of time to do good activities. And so instead of watching such stuff, we have to find new activities to do. Try to listen to weekly religion lesson. See series of Prophet Muhammad life, peace and prayers upon him. Do askar alone or in a group. You would find peace and calm doing so. Listen to Quran at home to have that inner peace. And I will share some links of the series I mean. And to conclude, Allah help the help from God is great than what they do. We just grasp in God, grasp in His majesty. Because Shaitan is having new tools now, and new tricks. We have to be aware of what's going around us. We should grasp in our Islam and grasp in Quran and Sunnah. This age we live in is a time of a great strife. That's why we must be connected more to religion and surround ourselves with Muslim colleagues who act as helper of the truth. Help each other to what Allah like to do. Thank you. I will share the links of the series I mean. Okay. Thank you. I will share it.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, sister. Sister Leila, you may elaborate more on that.
Is she? Well, I'm making sure. Yeah, she's still. Yeah. Where did she go? Did she disconnect?
Oh,
Oh, it looked like she disconnected. I don't see her in the room.
she will come back.
Yeah. Hey, why are you guys here? Which one of you are here? I'm gonna give y'all host rights. Well, here she is. She's back. Because I can't switch back and forth like this. Yeah,
oh, she's back.
Yeah, I just made her co-host. Yeah, this is very important, this whole topic, because subhanAllah, just on the news here today where I live at, I was listening right before class, some 5-year-old kid got one of his parents left a gun out, and he was playing, took the gun and bang, bang, playing, with the gun and killed his little brother. He's only 5 years old. And this is from what we see, what the kids see in the cartoons, what they see on TV. Television, media, it shapes our reality. And this is a fact. This is a fact. And like Dr. Asim was saying, and Sister Sahar, look how many relationships, look how many marriages, are messed up because we're looking for the perfect marriage based on what Hollywood tells us it should be, based on what, we see from the Kardashians, what we see from these crazy television shows. And so we get married and we find out that it's not what we see on television, and we end up unhappy and we end up with a high divorce rate. So this is something that, we really need to ponder. Who would like to comment on this? I'm sure you guys have a lot to say on this. Who would like to start us off? Go ahead, take the mic. Are you guys awake? Excuse me? Amina Fresno? Awa?
I'm here. I don't even understand what's going on. I don't know what the subject is. I'm not clear, so I'm not going to say
it's still anything. Last week's subject, how television and movies and stuff. We talked about it last night, how it shapes our reality. Dr. Asim is a philosopher. He got off into the philosopher, that stuff, but it's still the same topic. The topic, how the movies and social media shapes our reality.
No, we see Sister Mayuma.
Go ahead, brother.
Dr. Asim, we talked about this yesterday, Dr. Asim. I don't know why they.
I don't know. So if I don't know something, I ain't gonna say nothing because I don't like getting clowned, because I will leave out and go back to sleep.
It's the same topic, Fresno. He just gave us a different scientific perspective.
Okay, so you're talking about dropping seeds in my work, and that's how
exactly. That's what it is.
How the television drops seeds and plants seeds in the minds of whoever doesn't have knowledge and know that it's doing that. I agree with that totally. Children are very susceptible to those seeds being dropped, like you talk about the Spider-Man that you were speaking about last time. The kids looking at on TV thinking that this is true and that they can do it, so they jump off the roof and kill their little crazy self. They didn't know that in the show that the man, they was holding him up with a string. So they thought that this was true. So that seed is being planted, but it wasn't a true seed, but it was an imaginary seed to mess with their minds. Yes. Television, social media, all that, even people. The ones that know drop seeds on the ones that don't know. That's the name of the game. That's what people do. You just have to go back to what the Quran and the Sunnah said. He was speaking about divine law. Our law is the divine law. We do what the Quran and the Sunnah says, and we don't do what nobody dropping no seed against what we already know. We have to have that certainty of faith. I know what Allah said for me to do, so I'm going to do it. You can't drop no seed that's going to penetrate, and it's no fertile ground for your stinking seeds to be planted in my mind. But yeah, I agree totally with all that was said.
That's perfect. And that's great because, like she said, not just television. You know, remember that hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, some people do magic with their tongue. They have the gift of gab, and they can persuade you and make you think things. They can speak so articulately and cause you to question and doubt what you know. So again, that certainty of faith is strong. So we can be mesmerized, you know, by people. We can be mesmerized by social media. It's all about, like she said, basing everything on Quran and Sunnah. What did Allah say? What are Allah's rules? What are Allah's guidelines? You know, what are the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's rules and guidelines, as opposed to us taking man's guidelines over them? Good job, Amina.
I see Sister Elma and Sister Marion.
Yeah. Are they going to participate? Hello?
What do you think about today's topic?
Again, I was trying to share the file, and it was in the net, interrupted, and I'm back. Please make me a host again, Miss Line.
Okay, there you go. I see you. Hold on. Okay, there it is.
So, and if you have a question for me today about what I have said, please raise your hands and ask me. You are welcome. I see Sister Sahara.
I think they said you don't supposed to raise your hand because it does something.
Yeah, they're doing it now. Anybody want to participate? Can y'all wake up and get on the mic?
Sister Sahara, you may start, inshallah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say with social media, it's a very hard thing because it's very easy to believe anything on social media, like especially when you're looking into topics that you like and you care about and are interested in. I know a huge thing that like this generation is big on is being more like woke and trying to like make people aware of things, even though like technically it's propaganda, but they don't know it's propaganda because everything the blogs that, or like, you know, the articles that they read on is based on the ideologies that they believe in. Not everybody's going to agree with you. Some things are true and some things are false, but the thing is, it's really hard to find the actual truth and the full truth. And I think that's what makes it so hard nowadays, especially with social media, because you can go on any like news site, or you can listen to any radio, or, you know, even hear like, you know, listen to like historians tell these stories. But then the more you start listening to it, the more you realize that every single one of these people are saying a different version of something. They're tweaking at least like one or two information on there, but you don't really get the full truth. And it's kind of like disheartening because
they add fiction. They add more fiction to the history, right?
Yes, like they add fiction into it. So it's like you believe it's true, but you don't really know if it's true or not because the person who went through that's not here to say this is what I actually went through. Especially like, you know, we have autobiographies and stuff, but they only tell you bits and pieces of their life that they want to share. And then you have other people who like try to like dig in deeper and be like, oh, this is how this person was like based on X, Y, and Z. But it's like this person came like 2-3 generations after. So how would they know about this person's life? So it kind of like also like I also think about it on a religious point of view too, because like people like to tweak things in our religion and be like, oh, like, you know, the Prophet was like this, or like the Sahabas were like this, but we clearly know how they were like because like the story, like his companions said how the Prophet was like, and Allah describes the Prophet. But then like you have these speakers who try to like fit into this like new like modern standards and stuff like that, and try to, you know, blend their ideologies into like,
Dr. What happened? Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I thought you couldn't hear me.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, now we hear. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So like they like to like blend their like ideologies from like what's going on in 2024 now and like change it from what was happening back then. And I'm like, they are two different eras, but you guys also have to like realize that this is like the correct way of behaving. This is like the correct way we should be looking at life. instead of trying to change it over time. I mean, there are certain things that are like, you know.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you have the chance to look at the stories of the prophets in
Yes,
the Quran, versus the Old Testament?
I've listened to the series that Sister Layla gave about the prophets.
But if you look at the Old Testament, you will find some differences.
Mm-hmm.
You will find that in the Old Testament they add more fiction. Not only that, but also they had some fabrication, and they added lies to the story and the history of the prophets and messengers. Haven't you seen that?
I've never tried to read the Old Testament ever, so yeah, I don't know. But there are stories like through like it's like some people when I was younger they would tell the stories of the prophets, but it would be incorrect. So, but then Sister Layla like I would ask questions and she'll tell me like that's not how it happened. But
so they have shown all the prophets and messengers with wrongdoers and committed sins and mistakes, and they practiced something haram, and this is what they said. And the Holy Quran never said that, but we consider them a role model for us, and they are immune, and none of them committed sins and mistakes. So by looking at that, we understand that there are a lot of fiction were added to the stories in the Old Testament and the New Testament. Go ahead, Sister Sahara.
Oh, continue or?
Yeah, continue. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's like for the most part what I was trying to say, and also like because recently I was talking to like one of my relatives, and we were talking about like Harut and Marut, and I was telling him like like they slandered the angels a lot, and he was like, me and him were just going back and forth, and I was trying to like help him understand like if you want to know the truth, like you don't just read the Quran, you also need to like have somebody who knows about the truth, people who study the truth, because there are people who study lies. Like there are people who study something that fits their ideologies. And I was telling him like, you need to like, find somebody, like we agreed that, seeking knowledge is good, but you need to find somebody who can help you, understand and digest that, because you can't just take knowledge from anybody. Not everybody is knowledgeable. We think everybody is knowledgeable, but we're not. We can be knowledgeable in certain things, but like, when it comes to like religion, it's more sacred, and you need to like really like be on the lookout on like and be on like high alert on what you want to like, who you want to learn from, especially nowadays.
You need somebody. You need somebody not only memorize, but they know how to reflect on the verses and the hadith of the Prophet. So that's a huge difference.
Yes, I agree. So that's all I really had to say about that.
Thank you. That's a good contribution. Anybody else?
Yeah, let me kind of change things.
Oh, Sister Anisa, how are you?
Yes, I'm a little late getting here. My niece was working on my foot. She couldn't get the machine to work, so my foot is sore. The guy's gone to get my food, so I need to talk before he comes back. When I was a little girl, the first movie my mother took me to, my brother, my cousin, and I, there was fire on the screen. I could not understand why that fire did not burn up that theater and us too. My cousin tried his best to get me to understand. So I go way back, coming from the country at my age. We had what was called go to the drive-in night. So on the weekends, we would go to a drive-in, and there was this movie outside on the screen, and we'd eat popcorn and we had fun. Well, I had to be taught about movies because I really didn't understand what movies were. And I think a lot of parents don't know, when you have children and you just arbitrarily take them to, oh, let's go see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
The children don't know what they're going to encounter when they get there. And they are going to either be mesmerized or terrorized or whatever. And you may never know unless you come out and have a meeting with them to find out, how did this movie affect you? Because me personally, I don't have to go anywhere in this world. I can watch TV and travel the whole world. I don't have to leave my bedroom. That's just how engrossed I got in movies. I'd rather sit and be calm and comfortable in my own warm environment and watch something on TV that's not correct, or watch a movie that's incorrect, or even to see how they take the religious movies that they make of our Islamic beings, our proud people, our people who Allah has sent down to help us. They do, because they have to add to it to make the movie longer. A movie is at least an hour and 45 minutes long. 2 hours, you got a lot going on. So it's important, I think, that we do teach our children before you take them to a movie. They need to know what's going on. And I'll say this because the first movie I took the boy that I raised to, he was 5 years old. And I took him to see, what is that, the Yellow Brick Road. The movie started with humongous, loud music. And before that first realm played, that boy ran out of the theater into the street. I'm sitting in the theater wondering what happened to this 5-year-old child. It scared him to death. I could not take that child to a movie at all. So I know how it affects people. I know how it affects children. So mothers, be careful with what you let your children see. I just want to throw that in.
Thank you, Sister Anisa. I agree with you. And this is really very important, especially for our kids. And we don't know what kind of message that is given to our children. And by the way, there are scientists in psychology and sociology. They have studied, certain movies, and they come up with some, analysis of how that would impact the developments, the human developments of our kids, and it can also affect adults. So it doesn't stop there. So I see some people around, they have kids like Brother Talib and Sister Yasmin, and I see Sister Ilma. So if you have something to add, please speak up.
Yes, inshallah. I would like to add something. I've written something down. For nearly a year, I have not had a television, and I have not watched a movie on TV or on YouTube. I have replaced this with a hobby. Now I spend my time reflecting and writing down my reflections on paper. Each day I try to learn something new about myself and look at the signs and ponder on my life and what I feel and think inside me. I unravel many habits and consistent patterns that many times I want to change. Reflecting brings to light a whole new world that lives within me. My habits and my way of being didn't just happen in one day. Rather, it is patterns made by living through different experiences in my life. So with this new hobby, my journal becomes like my personal history book with details of this world within that I am trying to understand. Writing helps me to connect with myself in different ways. And instead of seeking something outside of myself for comfort or answers like a movie, I instead take the time to listen and observe myself and seek a firm path to move forward in. Instead of being distracted with screens which give me a dopamine rush and is nothing fulfilling, rather it diminishes and leaves me alone with my own self and negative feelings. By being introspective, you will find that you have many answers to your problems and you don't need abundance of information provided through technology. Rather, you need to study yourself and have a connection to yourself and Allah, because He has given you the power to make what was once a goal on paper a reality. You have more power than you think, but knowing the signs that Allah gives you from within should help you navigate your life. We are always seeking to have abundance of something, so we binge watch and get a dopamine rush, which gives us comforting feeling for a short time. And I will even add that we seek abundance of information for a particular topic sometimes that interests us. This is also nothing but a dopamine rush, because it is not about how much you can watch and remember, rather how much you comprehend and can relate to and apply in your life. That is where the power is. Instead of seeking from outside of yourself, like movies and shorts made by misguided, depressed, and low moral people, seek to bring value to yourself and thoughts by comprehending yourself, your life, and Allah. Trusting Allah and then trusting that you are special, and the people on the screens do not have your best interests at the heart as you do for yourself. So we should not try to seek answers from movies and shorts or seek to comprehend your world from these things. That's all.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you for your contribution.
Yes,
anybody wants to add something? Sister Layla?
Yes,
please.
brother. Let me see if I can switch the camera. Nope. Wait a minute. Yeah, brother Ahmad has typed. I'm trying to read it. He's typed here on YouTube. Okay, brother Ahmad has typed, I agree. They are showing LGBT, and I even noticed they are showing evil deeds like robbery as a good thing. This is why you need to focus on your aqidah. I would like to add, it also depends on the person, what your weakness is. If your weakness is loneliness and it will make you fall into zina, you should avoid it. And also, even for kids, I don't understand why they are putting LGBT stuff in video games. This is why you need to teach to children about Islam at an early age. And this is a good point that he's making. This shows how the media, mass media, shapes our perception of life. They're trying to force LGBT into our acceptance. It's in the cartoons, it's in the video games, it's in the movies. They've changed, even Marvel has made the Green Lantern gay. I mean, come on, they're changing the comics and stuff to add in LGBT to try to, force it down us to accept that this is part of the norm. So we have to be very careful to do what we talked about. Well better, distance ourselves. We have to distance ourselves from whatever contradicts our belief system. We have to distance ourselves from that. And you have to teach your children that. And Sister Amina here on YouTube type, yes, I agree. A lot of these shows and movies are evil. Good job, guys. Yeah, Dr. Aslam, go ahead. Anybody else would like to share too?
Yeah, I would like to share.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
I was just gonna basically piggyback on what Sister Amina was saying earlier about planting seeds in your head. There was a class that I took, I think last semester, and my teacher was asking us which of you guys get influenced? Do you get easily influenced to just certain things when you see certain things on social media? And I basically told the teacher, I was when it comes to worldly, political stuff, I don't easily get influenced by that. I need more information. I need the facts. I need to hear from people who are qualified to speak about situations or whatever problems that are happening in the world. But when it comes to beauty products or makeup or clothes, I get easily influenced. And it's really just based on the seeds that we put in our minds. Again, what people are more, what they're, I wouldn't say insecurities, but something that they feel like they lack. So for me, I always I was telling my sisters, I'm one of those people, I take so much care in my appearance that sometimes it goes to the extreme. It goes too far with it. I have to look perfect put together. I have to be this perfect person. I have to speak perfectly. I have to be this perfect Muslim. I have to be this perfect, you know, Black girl, whatever like identity that I carry, it has to be perfect. And it's really just like influenced by everything that I see on TikTok. Because if I'm not that perfect person, then what am I? Like, I'm not, you know, I won't live up to like any of these standards that are like put on me. But sometimes I just have to be honest with myself when I hear the stories about like, you know, the companions, the female companions, or like when I hear about like what Allah says when it comes to like beauty and whatnot, or like what he values as what is like more dear to him. He doesn't care about like our materials and whatever. He doesn't care about your intellect. It's your character, your morality, and how righteous or good of a Muslim you are. And that's what I try to remind myself. It's not the people that I surround myself with. Having a lot of friends doesn't mean anything. They could be the worst people on this earth, and you can have all these friends, but you can feel alone because none of them are reminding you to do the right thing or be a good Muslim. There's no point. You could have all the money in the world, and if you're not like using it for good or like giving it into charity or using it in a way that is pleasing to Allah, what's the point? Or like you can have the most nicest house and whatnot and attract all these people. What's the point? You're just living for the people. And I guess that's one of the seeds that I have to like unteach myself. And I'm just like, you know, living through like the Prophet and his companions, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and just living in that reality, because that's the truth, and that's the truth that's gonna, you know, help me like get through the grave and pass my test in life, not whatever I'm seeing on TV or on TikTok. So I have to shut down all of my social media accounts like Facebook, Instagram, all of that, TikTok, because it was time consuming and it was just making me live in this world that's not real. It's not real. It's just a world that I created for myself to protect myself from whatever issues that was going on in my mind. So I think that's one thing that I
Sister Mariam, and the more seeds people got in their brains, and if they got it continuously, so after that they become different persons. So they may pray, they may fast, but when you speak with them about this issue, they may not be able to understand because of that change that happened within themselves. So they believe this is something normal, and they can live with that, and they will be a good Muslim. But they don't realize how much change that occurred in their brains, in their heart, and that affected their life and the way they, you know, they deal with different things in their life. What do you think?
Can you, sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, my question is, after you listen to our discussion today, and I try to make everything clear from scientific point of view, so that would help you to understand people who are in a denial and who don't catch this issue, and they said this is not important. This is something that would affect us. I can watch television, I can watch different movies, I can go to the cinema, and then going to pray at the mosque and fast and going for Umrah and Hajj, and I'll be a good Muslim. What do you think?
I don't know. I just don't agree with people like that at all, because like, as we know, like everything, all the like, you know, obligations that Allah created, for example, like Ramadan or like the prayers, they're meant to make you a better person. Like if you're doing all this motion and moving and there's no change in it, then your heart is not in it. Like you're just going through the motion. You're practically a walking dead. Like you're doing it just to do it. You have no connection to it. There's no spiritual connection to anything. You're no different than the Kafirs at this point, because they do stuff and they can't, like, their mind can't grasp like what's wrong with it. They just think it's normal when it's not.
So do you have any question for what I have said today?
Are there like other ways to like, you know, combat issues like that? Because for me, I always like kind of struggle with like mentally pulling myself from like a dark place, or like, you know, moving on from certain like situations, or like sometimes I fear the future, like, you know, bad things that will happen. Like how does a person like take their self out of those like those negative thoughts, or just, you know, like take all those negative like seeds that are planted in their head and make them better?
Yeah, we must acknowledge that everything that we listen to and we watch, that will affect and have an impact on our heart. So that's why we have the choice to let the good stuff from the divine law to enter our heart, or the other stuff from the devil way to enter our heart. Because Allah has created people with a pure heart, and then we are the one who would write something bad or good in our heart. So we have the free choice. We have the choice to do that. So we must acknowledge that we will receive happiness in this life and in the hereafter if we follow the footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And last week we spoke about poetry. It did exist at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he gave a warning to his companion that there is a good poetry and a bad poetry. So don't let the imagination, the fiction, to drive your life and to have an impact on your life, because that may affect your life without to notice that, because it is a minor thing, but after a while it becomes a huge thing that is built in our heart. Do you have any question for me? I'm asking everybody here before
I'd like to add too, a lot of people are asking, like, when you find yourself caught up in social media, or you find yourself caught up in that fantasy, how to get yourself out of it. I can tell you guys, it's all about taking it one day at a time, you know, because it's not going to happen overnight. The simple fact that you've recognized the problem, that's the first step in curing yourself of it. And then you just have to take it one day at a time, you know, and it will get better. You'll be able to move on past that negativity, you know, but it's going to take time, you know. Just each day you wake up, say, oh, thank you, Allah, for getting me through it for this day and for yesterday. And now, Allah, get me through it today. And again, women suffer more than men do. Statistics show from this social media impact, because we've always allowed the media to determine beauty for us. You know, women are more emotional than men are, you know, and we fall for that crap more. We're more concerned with our appearance and our dress and stuff. And we allow television, like Sahar was saying, Barbie came and that's supposed to be the perfect woman, blonde hair, blue eyes, tall, lean, skinny. You know, that's not reality. That's not reality. Beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. And beauty comes in different shapes, different sizes, different colors. Allah created us from all different parts of the earth. So we're all different colors. So we have to, once you realize that the subliminal message that has been implanted, that seed has been implanted, that's the first step in ridding yourself of it. And then just turn back to Allah and what Allah says. Stop watching that crap on television. Ask Allah to give you self-esteem, self-respect, self-love. And then just take it day by day. And you will look up and you will realize each day it's going to hurt less. Each day you will be grown. You will have grown more. It just takes time, Melion. It takes time.
Yeah, I would suggest, like, for sisters who are joining this website, if you have like empty time or spare time, you can have a group to discuss something and to read a story of one of the companion or one of the female companion at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and try to reflect upon that. So try to replace, because you need something. You need something to occupy your life. So so if you feel that like you're not busy and you have something that like affecting you, like social media, jump in and try to have a discussion with a group of sisters. So maybe Sister Layla can arrange that.
Yeah, we have that. We have those classes. That's why I do that. We do this.
It's not classes, like a discussion. Like
yeah, that's what it is. And I'll take
for teens, for 14-ager, and for adults, and for elderly. So they don't feel that they are.
Yeah, we do that. We do it twice. Yeah, we do that twice a week. You know, I'll use the female companions as an example and a role model in their life, and then how it can relate to us. We have that going on here, because a lot of the kids here and adult women, more women than kids, suffered with that bad, low self-esteem from their environment and from the media and the relationships they've had. So that's why we have those classes and discussions 3-4 times.
And sisters, they can join with their video.
Oh, they do
and
that. Yeah.
They can make sure that they don't use their cell phones while they are chatting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to have like a real interaction between them.
Yeah.
So don't let yourself to have a free time without having something useful. Because if you do so, Shaitan will jump in and ask you to use your cell phone, going to the internet, going to the YouTube, searching for this, searching for that, and it become addiction now. So this is something, one of the fitna that is happening to everybody, especially to Muslim. Any comments? Any question about today?
Okay, here's a sister on YouTube. She said, I had to get off social media because it's very toxic. It makes us feel as though we don't have enough. It makes you compare your life with others, and it can lead to being ungrateful to Allah.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I see that in the YouTube. People will, make their own channel and try to convince people that they have a happy life, and you don't know if they lie or they speak the truth. And even if you are happy, so you are not supposed to share everything with people. So protect your life, protect your privacy. Everybody should have privacy. So we shouldn't. By the way, we shouldn't get into people who share their privacy, their life with others through YouTube. Because for me, I don't trust them. And even if my friends, if my close friends try to share with me some privacy, some his like private times, so I don't trust him. I ask him to stop, because this is something that I wouldn't do in return. So there are ways, inshallah, to replace that social media addiction with something useful. And nowadays it is easy. You can use the internet. You can like join this website or whatever is convenient for you. So if you don't have any question for me today, so I may end the class at this point. Any question?
Okay, sister here is asking, what can a person do when they start to feel bad about how their life is going?
We should be satisfied. Okay, as Prophet ﷺ said, don't look at people who are higher than you in this life, but look at people who are lower than you. For example, if you are sick, think about those who have severe illness. And if you go to the hospital, you will find many. So you will be thankful to Allah. If you are sick and you're still using your hands, there are people who don't have their hands. Look at people in Palestine now. Like a good number of them, of the injured people, they lost their limbs. And now they don't have hands, they don't have, this can happen to anybody. So look at people who lost more than you in this life. Everybody in this life shouldn't be perfect. Nobody's perfect. You have to lose something. If you look at your loss incomparable with people who lost more than you, you will be thankful to Allah. So look at people who are lower than you with respect to the money, the house, the cars, the life, the children. But when you think about the hereafter, paradise, you need to look at people who are higher than you in worship. Look at righteous people and compete with them. So again, don't compete for people who look for worldly desire and who focus on materialism, but compete with people who think about the hereafter, who think about the paradise. So this is based on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ and also from personal experience around me. Because satisfaction will not come to your heart if you look at people who are higher than you. Because there is no end. If you have $1 million, you are going to look at people who have 5 million. If you have one car, you are going to look at people who have more than one car or luxury car. So there is no end for that. So satisfaction is really important in order to have a pure heart when you pray and when you meet with your Lord, inshallah. Any other question? Sister Layla, shall we end the class now?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. They said this is great. That's all we have from the social platforms here. Yes.
Jazakumullah khairan. And I hope, inshallah, every week we have such interactive reflection that would help people, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.